welcome to this deep dive. And today we're going to be looking at online dating safety. And
Okay.
to do that, we're going to be looking at the case of Ingrid Lyne,
Right.
a 40-year-old mother of three from Seattle who disappeared after an online date in April 2016.
Right.
And her story is just a reminder that online dating can be great, but you have to be aware of the risks.
Yeah, and this case is really interesting because it happened in the digital age.
Yeah.
So we have all these text messages and emails and searches, and that digital footprint is going to be key in this investigation.
So before we get into all of that, let's talk about Ingrid. You know, she was a person living a full life,
Right.
a loving mother.
Yeah, she had a career. She seemed happy before this.
Yeah, it's just a reminder that this can happen to anyone
Absolutely.
at any time. And in Ingrid's case, this nightmare began when she decided to try online dating.
Right.
And that's how she met John Robert Charlton,
Uh-huh.
a 37-year-old man with a history of minor offenses.
And it's so easy to imagine yourself in Ingrid's shoes. You know, meeting someone online,
Yeah.
chatting, maybe they make you laugh, and you decide to meet up.
Right, it all seems so normal.
Exactly. And that's what's so scary about this case. It highlights the hidden dangers of these types of encounters.
You never know who you're really dealing with. And for Ingrid, that date was her last.
Right.
She went missing on April 8th, 2016.
After going out with Charlton, last anyone saw her was at a Mariners game with him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's scary to think that something so normal
Yeah.
could be followed by something so horrific.
And when she didn't come home, her family and friends knew something was wrong.
Of course.
This was totally out of character for her.
Right. And the investigation quickly focused on Charlton.
Okay.
And that's where the digital age that we talked about comes in.
Yeah.
That digital trail was a big piece of the puzzle.
So what did they find? Like, was his online activity a window into his darker side?
Well, they discovered that Ingrid had been at Charlton's place after their date. They figured that out from digital evidence and from what witnesses said.
Mm-hmm.
But even more than that, they found evidence that suggested he was trying to cover his tracks, like he was tampering with stuff.
Oh, wow.
Trying to make up a new story, almost like he thought he could just erase what he did.
Trying to outsmart the investigators.
Yeah, but you can't really hide these days, can you?
No, not really.
And as they kept investigating, they found more disturbing things. But before we get into that,
Yeah.
we need to talk about what happened just 2 days after Ingrid disappeared.
You mean when they found her remains?
Yeah.
I can't imagine what her family went through.
It was April 10th, 2016, when they found her remains in a garbage bin near her home.
Oh, my gosh.
The brutality of it all, it really shocked the community.
Yeah, this wasn't just a disappearance.
No, it wasn't.
It was a violent act.
Right. And when they found her, the case against Charlton became much stronger.
So what happened next?
2 days after that, Charlton was arrested and charged with first-degree murder,
Okay.
which means it was planned and dismemberment.
Wow.
The trial was grim. They showed evidence that he planned it all out, that it was brutal, and that he tried to hide what he did.
So they had all the evidence against him. Does he even try to deny it?
He did. He tried to say other things happened and that it wasn't him.
Oh, wow.
But the evidence was just too strong. And this is where the digital age is really fascinating.
Right.
Our searches and messages online, they paint a picture, a story that investigators can use to find out the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And for Charlton, that digital story was basically like a confession.
So we're back and we're talking about the Ingrid Lyne case. And you know how the digital age played a big role in convicting her killer, John Robert Charlton?
Right.
Before the break, we were talking about the digital evidence that was used against him. What exactly did they find?
It's amazing how stuff we do online every day can end up being really strong evidence.
Yeah.
And for Charlton, they found out he had been looking up some really bad stuff online.
What kind of stuff? I bet this is where it gets scary.
You're right. They found out that he was searching for information about dismemberment
Oh, my God.
and how to get rid of human remains.
That's terrifying to think that the investigators found that.
It's a sure sign he was planning something terrible.
It means it wasn't an accident or in the heat of the moment.
No, it wasn't.
It was planned out.
Exactly. And get this, they also found out he had tried to buy a big container of lye.
Lye, isn't that the chemical that dissolves stuff?
Yeah, it's used to get rid of organic matter.
That's like something out of a horror movie.
It is scary, and it just shows how much he was planning this and how much he was thinking about how to hide what he did.
He really thought he could just erase his actions, like you said before, but he couldn't.
You leave a trail everywhere you go online.
Yeah, that's true.
Every time you click something or search for something or send a message, it's like leaving a breadcrumb
And the investigators followed those breadcrumbs.
right to his front door.
That's a good way to put it. You know, this case really makes you think about how important online dating safety is.
It really does. Ingrid's story is a reminder that even though online dating can be a great way to meet people, there are real dangers too.
Yeah, it's like exploring a new place. You wouldn't just walk into a dark alley without being careful.
That's right.
You'd want to know what's around you, trust your instincts.
And maybe have a map.
Right.
Yeah.
And in the digital world, that map is knowledge.
Exactly. The more you know, the safer you are.
Being aware is so important.
It is, but you also have to actually take steps to protect yourself.
Yeah. What kind of steps did we talk about for online dating before?
Meeting in public places, telling your friends and family where you're going.
Right. And looking up the person online to see if there are any red flags.
Those are all good ideas, and those ideas can be used in other areas of your life too.
Yeah.
It's all about being smart and being prepared.
But sometimes even if you're careful, things can still go wrong.
That's true.
So what can you do if you feel unsafe?
The most important thing is to get out of that situation right away. Your safety is the priority.
Yeah, forget being polite. Just leave. And if you think you're in danger,
Then call 911 immediately.
don't be afraid to make a scene either.
It's better to be safe.
And if anything bad has ever happened to you related to online dating,
Remember, you're not alone. There are people who can help you.
it's okay to ask for help.
It is.
It's sad that Ingrid's story ended so tragically, but maybe by talking about it, we can help others be safer.
I hope so.
It's all about raising awareness
Online dating can be great, but you need to be aware of the risks.
and be smart.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about online safety, but this case also brings up a lot of questions about why someone would do something so terrible.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what could make a person do something like that.
What can we learn from the case files and all the stuff they talked about at the trial?
One thing that came up was that Charlton had a history of anger issues and violence.
Really?
He had been arrested before for assault.
So he had been violent before he met Ingrid?
Yeah, it seems like he had a pattern of being aggressive.
But what would make him snap like this?
Some people thought that he might have had something called psychopathy.
Psychopathy. Wow, that's chilling.
It's a disorder that makes people act charming, but they don't have empathy, and they like to manipulate others.
That's scary to think he could do something so awful without feeling any guilt.
It is a scary thought.
Yeah.
But remember, they never actually said he had psychopathy.
Oh, right.
It was just something the experts thought might be possible.
So we're just talking about possibilities here.
Right. Human behavior is really complicated. It's usually not just one thing that causes someone to act a certain way.
Yeah, it's probably a combination of a lot of things.
And when the person who committed the crime doesn't tell us why they did it, we have to try to figure it out from the evidence we have.
And we may never know for sure.
That's true. Even though we know a lot about psychology and crime, the human mind is still a mystery.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's still so much we don't know.
But even if we don't have all the answers, there are still things we can learn from Ingrid's story.
That's a good point. So when we come back, we'll talk more about the lessons we can take away from this case.
And how we can use those lessons to be safer and make the world a better place.
Okay, so we're back. And, we've been talking about Ingrid Lyne's case, and it's really sad, but there's a lot we can learn from it.
Right. We've talked about, the digital trail and how to stay safe when you're dating online.
But there's more to it than that, right? This isn't just about telling the story again.
It's about understanding what it all means and how we can make the world safer.
So what are the big takeaways? What can we learn from Ingrid?
Well, one thing is that we need to be more aware.
Yeah.
Technology is great and it connects us in amazing ways, but it also comes with risks, things we need to be careful about.
It's like if you're in a new city, you wouldn't just walk down a dark street without thinking about it.
Right. You'd want to know where you are, what's around you.
And trust your gut.
Exactly. And online, that means knowing about the dangers.
The more you know, the better.
Exactly. Knowledge is power.
Especially when it comes to being safe.
But knowing isn't enough. You got to do something too.
Right. Take those steps to protect yourself.
Like we talked about meeting in public places, telling someone where you're going.
Looking people up online.
And all of that applies to other parts of your life too.
Not just dating.
Right. It's about being smart and prepared all the time.
And remembering that safety is also about having people you can talk to.
That's so important. Think about Ingrid. Her friends and family knew something was wrong because they knew her.
Yeah.
They knew she wouldn't just disappear.
It's about having those people who care about you and who you can talk to.
Exactly. It's like a safety net.
A community.
And even though Ingrid's story is tragic, it reminds us that there's always hope.
Yeah.
We can learn from what happened and try to make sure it doesn't happen again.
So as we finish up this deep dive, we want to leave you with a question.
What can you do to be safer and more informed?
What can you learn from Ingrid that will help you in your own life?
Think about it. Talk to the people you care about and take those steps to make the world a safer place.
Thanks for joining us today.
We hope this has made you think and that you feel empowered to stay safe.
Remember, knowledge is power, and we can all help each other stay safe.
If you enjoyed this video and want to dive deeper into more cases like this one, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to like the video if you found the story compelling, and share it with your friends and family who might be interested in true crime and mysteries. By subscribing, you'll stay up to date with all our latest content and join a growing community of curious minds exploring the most fascinating cases. Click the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything.